problem in the past was their method of playing was to constrict the opposition, to try and keep the runs as tight as possible. Now, that works against lesser opposition, but when you get up against a team that is either as good or better than you, you've got to attack them. You've got to provoke mistakes. It's no guarantee of winning, but it's your best chance of winning. I mean, I discovered in the 70s, mid-70s, playing against the West Indies, that, I mean, if you played them in a 50-over game, if you didn't bowl them out, they were going to get whatever you set them. So you had to bowl them out. And you know, I think that's has escaped South Africa, and now I think it's got to the point where it's been a monkey on their back so long, and they, I mean, 2015 World Cup, AB de Villiers said, no, that's a thing of the past. What did they do? They collapsed again. So they've got to get that monkey off their back, and I don't see them doing it this time. You know, Rabada, I think, is a terrific young fast bowler, but then the fast bowling falls away a little bit. I think they've probably got to play Morne Morkel. You know, I think there are better attacks. I think both England and Australia have got better pace attacks than South Africa.
Well, you just took Rabada's name, and it was like at 3 o'clock in the morning I received a call, and I picked up the telephone, and Saklan Mushtaq was at the other end. I said, what happened, Saki? You're calling me 3 o'clock in the morning. He said, I heard that Rabada has broken my record of being the youngest to get 100 wickets, make a no relax. It's since Saklan Mushtaq, so your record is intact. Okay, so like Ian elaborated, if it comes to South Africa, because I did discuss this thing with Jonty Rhodes and Herschel Gibbs, and they thought that the compulsion of having the coloured players in the South African lineup at times impacted negatively on the balance, and but I think now all those coloured players, they are actually the best product South Africa has to showcase. But in case if you see this year, in the last 2 years, they have, out of the 35 one-day internationals they have played, they won 23, lost only 11, and they are the best team in one-day contemporary cricket. So how do you see South Africa coming along in this ICC Champions Trophy with AB de Villiers and the way Hashim Amla recently played in the IPL?
I think that what a lot of people are forgetting, that that monkey you talk about on their back, that time when they need to deliver and they don't, they've actually been beaten by a better team. Yes, it might have been the semi-finals of a tournament, or I remember back in 1996 when South Africa won all the matches in the World Cup, and they faced the West Indies in Pakistan, and we got on top of them, and we won that quarterfinal and went on to lose the semi-finals against Australia. But they are going to come up against a very good team if they get through to the semi-finals at the stage of the tournament. And is that bad luck? Is that a monkey in their back? Or is there a team that's going to play better than them on the day? Somebody's got to win. Australia has dominated one-day cricket for a couple decades, since, you know, losing the finals in 1996 and winning from 1999 in the World Cup. They've dominated it. They are not going to fall down. England's not going to fall down. So for me, South Africa is going to have an uphill battle when it gets down to that crunch time in the tournament. If they lose, I don't believe that, you know, we're going to say, well, you know, here they go again. I think if they play good cricket, they're going to win. But if they slip up at all, you know, the opposition, be it England, be it Australia, India, they're going to take advantage of it.
But Brian and Ian, both of you, recently the clinical evidence suggests that it was at Lord's, England having scored 300 plus 20 times in the last 2 years in one-day internationals, and at one time they were tottering at 24 for 6 and managing to post that 153, and then South Africa winning comprehensively. So do you really think that South Africa now looks and find metal and fully adjusted just prior to the ICC Champions Trophy?
I think all the teams are pretty much peaking. But you're going to have a winner and you're going to have a loser. And I mean, England won the first 2 one-day internationals, and that was a big stumbling. I don't know if that is a positive for England, because they're at home. A lot is expected of them. They've had this tournament 3 or 4 times and are unable to win. Lost a couple times in the finals. So this could serve as a very positive result for them, that defeat against South Africa. South Africans, we know, play very, very good cricket, and they could sort of demolish any team on their day. But it's a game of cricket, and it's in England, it's June, you never know what the weather's going to be like.
3 or 4 matches are predicted to be interrupted by rain, and most of them, majority of them in the Wales, not in London or at Edgbaston. So probably we may well have the best Champions Trophy, as Ian said.
But it's more to do with the pitches, you know, how the weather affects the pitches. You know, when you go there early, if you go there in May, you know, you can, the pitches are a bit damp and it moves around. Batting can be difficult, but you get a dry summer in England, and there's probably not a better place in the world to bat, is it? Because the boundaries and the outfields get very, very quick, very quick. So it does depend, as Brian said, it depends a lot on the weather and how that affects the pitches.
So was it early May when Bob Massey picked up that those 16 wickets?
No.
All right.
No, that was just good bowling. The Lord's Test would have been probably, I don't know, late June.
Yeah, it was late June.
Late
You're
June,
right.
yeah.
So, जी राशिद भाई, अब पाकिस्तान को अगर आप हम देखें, आपको बड़ा बुरा लगेगा जब मैं कहूँगा और आप मेरे से लड़ाई शुरू कर देंगे. But at the end of the day, हमने 18 one-day internationals हारे हैं. We have lost in 18 one-day internationals since World Cup 2015, and we have only won 6, and majority of them coming against the minnows, the low tier. But आप पाकिस्तान की टीम को बहुत highly rate करते हैं. अब क्या मतलब ये जी क्या कर रहे हैं आप? मतलब बताएं ना मुझे, अब आए ना आप जरा. स्टैट्स पे बात करें ना भाई.
स्टैट्स पे यही है कि हम लोगों ने कैप्टनसी चेंज 2 या 3 दफ़ा हुई है ड्यूरिंग 2 years. तो अजहर अली जब कैप्टन आया अगेंस्ट बांग्लादेश, जब वकार यूनुस एज ए कोच था, तो वहाँ पे डिजास्टर हुआ. उसके बाद हमने अपने ओपनिंग भी चेंज की, मिडिल ऑर्डर भी चेंज की और बॉलर्स भी चेंज किए. अनसेटल्ड टीम रही हमारी कि बहुत ज़्यादा चेंजेस जो की है उससे पाकिस्तान को नुकसान हुआ. कभी सईद अजमल से हमें नुकसान हुआ कि अब उसका एक्शन का प्रॉब्लम हुआ, फिर हफीज़ का भी सेम प्रॉब्लम हुआ. उसके बाद डिक्लाइन शुरू हुआ पाकिस्तान की रैंकिंग में, जहाँ नंबर 2 नंबर 3 हम लोग थे, वहाँ पे अभी हम नंबर 7 नंबर 8 पे.
नंबर 8.
तो ये एक पाकिस्तान के लिए अलमिया है कि कैप्टनसी चेंज हुई और सईद अजमल और हफीज़ की बॉलिंग ना करने की वजह से पाकिस्तान को बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ. लेकिन अभी अगर हम बैटिंग लाइनअप देखते हैं तो सेम कैटेगरी के प्लेयर हैं. अजहर अली खेलेगा अगर प्लेइंग में खेलता है. नंबर 2 अहमद शहजाद, नंबर 3 बाबर आजम, नंबर 4 हफीज, नंबर 5 मलिक, नंबर 6 सरफराज एक ऐसा प्लेयर है जो कि
उसको नहीं
मिडिल ऑर्डर को,
लेफ्ट हैंडर को नहीं खिलाया.
मैं अभी जो सोच रहा हूँ जो बन रहा है ना, क्योंकि हफीज खेलता है, शोएब मलिक भी खेलता है, तो एक ही कैटेगरी के प्लेयर हैं जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा डॉट बॉल खेलते हैं. पाकिस्तान का रीज़न ही यही है कि टॉप टीम के खिलाफ हमारे 130 से 150 तक डॉट बॉल्स हैं. तो अगर पहली बैटिंग करते हैं 140 डॉट बॉल खेलते हैं और बाद में चेज करते हैं 140-145 डॉट बॉल, तो इसका मतलब है 9-10 का एवरेज आपको चाहिए होता है. वो चेजिंग में हम लोग अच्छे हैं नहीं. तो ये एक प्रॉब्लम है. वो टीम अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगी, जैसे ये ने कहा कि फास्ट बॉलिंग जिनकी बेहतर है, अच्छी तगड़ी है.
आप तो हमेशा कहते हैं कि हमारे बड़े अच्छे फास्ट बॉलर.
मैंने नहीं बोला, अभी मैं उस पे आ रहा हूँ.
341 करवाया
ऑस्ट्रेलिया ऐसी टीम है जिसके पास 4 पेसर हैं. अगर मैं राइट हूँ तो इसमें मिचेल स्टार्क है, हेजलवुड है, पैटिंसन है और कमिंग्स है. ये चारों अगर खेलते हैं तो ये जो वेदर नज़र आ रहा है, जो पिच का बिहेवियर होगा, ये क्विक बॉलर है, 5 फील्डर सर्किल के अंदर होंगे तो ये इफेक्टिव हो सकते हैं. तो और जिनके पास नंबर 5, 6, 7 अच्छे मिडिल ऑर्डर होंगे वो टीम अच्छा रन.
अब पाकिस्तान को रेट नहीं करे
अभी फिलहाल नहीं. मेरे पाकिस्तान के लिए एक ही चीज़ है कि अगेंस्ट इंडिया पाकिस्तान मैच जीते तो ये पाकिस्तान की बहुत बड़ी कामयाबी,
टर्न अराउंड हो जाएगा. Okay, Ian and Brian, Rashid is of the view that yes, Pakistan has gone down to number 8, and the reason has been one unsettled team. They have been rapidly and quickly changing their openers and their batsmen, top tier especially, and the captaincy, because he thinks that the moment Azhar Ali was given the captaincy after the World Cup 2015, when Misbah-ul-Haq retired from one-day cricket, so they lost in Bangladesh and never gotten picked up after that. And the second, he thinks that playing the dot balls is a curse when it comes to Pakistan playing against the better teams in the world. Like if they bat first time, it's about 150 dot balls in a one-day international. Chasing, they still manage to block 140 balls or so. So he thinks that Pakistan, they may well not even be the dark horse if it comes to this Champions Trophy, unless until they surprise India on June 4. That could be a turnaround. Your take on this?
Yeah, I think bowling, they've got a good, strong bowling attack,
Yeah.
but I think their batting, they've got a solid batting lineup, but they, you know, I mean, look at the power hitting that the favourite teams have got. You know, they've got some serious power hitting, and up the top of the order. Pakistan haven't got that. They've got guys who can, you know, build an innings, but explosive? No, not so explosive.
All right.
And I think that's, what is it, Fahim?
Fahim Ashraf.
Yeah, the young all-rounder.
Yeah.
But the problem is he's batting at 9.
Yeah.
And you need, it's fine to have someone like that at number 9 who can come in and hit some sixes near the end of the innings. But you need a couple of those guys sprinkled throughout the order.
Okay.
And I think that's where Pakistan have got a bit of a
And
problem.
there's another problem that recently Fahim with the ball has been quite expensive. So purely we can't just take that he'll be playing as an all-rounder. Yeah. Brian, about Pakistan?
Yeah, I think that the Pakistani players are not the most favoured players in the outside league.
Okay.
It might just be T20, but spending time in dressing room in the IPL or in Big Bash or in South Africa, I don't think there are much Pakistani players that are playing as those professionals, like say for instance a Chris Gale or Darren Sammy for the West Indies.
I think it's
and
only-
I think that plays a very, very big part.
Yeah.
They have not been able to get the opportunity for whatever reasons, but just having to play in the UAE, their home matches and playing mainly international matches, I think has affected them. The players have not been able to been exposed, you know, sit down in a dressing room with Virat Kohli, listen to what he's doing, or you know, De Villiers. I think that plays a very, very, very big part, and I feel that that has definitely hindered the performance of the team.
Right.
Getting more professionals in the team, guys with a open mind to play, to speak, to encourage the younger players, and I felt that that has definitely stopped them a bit.
Okay. आप agree करते हैं ब्रायन से and इयन से कि जो ये कह रहे हैं कि लीग्स नहीं खेल रहे, शायद शोएब मलिक और सोहेल तनवीर और अब शायद कैरेबियन
नहीं
प्रीमियर
सर,
लीग
बिल्कुल फर्क जरूर पड़ रहा है क्योंकि
Yeah.
टॉप लीग्स में पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर्स नहीं खेले, बिग बैश में थोड़ा बहुत खेले थे शुरू में,
Yeah.
लेकिन बाद में बिग बैश में भी नहीं
IPL में भी
गए।
नहीं
कैरेबियन लीग में पाकिस्तानी प्लेयर्स खेल रहे हैं, लेकिन वहाँ की अगर सरफेस देखी जाए तो सिमिलर टू शारजा है, प्रॉब्लम होती है, स्पिनर ज़्यादा काम करते हैं। लेकिन IPL में ना होना या साउथ अफ्रीकन लीग में ना होना या बिग बैश में ना होना, पाकिस्तान टीम के जो प्लेयर्स हैं उनको जाहिर सी बात है अपने प्लेयर के साथ खेल खेल के वही सेम पॉलिटिक्स चल रही है जिसकी वजह से प्रॉब्लम है। आपको डिफरेंट ड्रेसिंग, इंडिया ने क्यों इम्प्रूव किया? पहले ऑस्ट्रेलियंस किसी के साथ इतने मिक्स नहीं होते, जो मैं खेला हूँ साथ में, एक डीन जॉन या शेन वॉन दो मिक्स हो जाते थे, अदरवाइज दूर रहते थे। जब ये IPL में इंडियन ड्रेसिंग रूम में आए तो उसके बाद उनको मालूम चला कि किस तरह से, उसके बाद से इंडिया ने ऑस्ट्रेलिया को हराना शुरू किया।
Okay, now Ian, he has a very good point, Brian. He thinks that yes, of course, he agrees that the Pakistani players, they are not playing in the major leagues, so they are not being exposed. And secondly, they haven't been able to come out of the cocoon they have built around themselves and the internal politics, etc., because they haven't been exposed to the greater and better players in the contemporary cricket. Secondly, he also suggests that the Indians, they had a problem with the mindset. They always had the top-class batsmen, and but they couldn't win matches until the Aussies, the Australians. He gave an example of Shane Warne and Dean Jones, who could just mix with the players. Otherwise, they kept within their own framework. So he thinks that once the Australians, they went to the IPL and they started sharing the dressing room, it has also triggered the mindset of the Indian batsmen. So that's his opinion, one. And secondly, I would like to ask you another question regarding the mindset that we have always seen that Australia is probably the only team in the world. Those who at times, they absolutely become merciless, ruthless, competitive, they just don't want to lose. So is it genetic predisposition or what? Is it a sporting culture in Australia, or how you people have become so competitive?
Well, I think it's probably a lot to do with the public.
Yeah.
The public in Australia expect success, and they almost demand it. The media a bit the same. I always describe the difference between Australia and India, for instance. I'm not so sure that it's the case now, but going back to Ponting and Sachin Tendulkar time, I always said the difference was with Australia, if Ponting made a duck and Australia won, the Australian public was happy.
Okay.
India, if Tendulkar made a duck and India won, the Indian public were upset because Tendulkar had made a duck. You know, and
That's a good one.
yeah, you know, so the Indian public, you know, got really excited. If Tendulkar made 100, they were really excited. If India lost, oh well, at least Tendulkar got 100. That, you know, that wouldn't wash in Australia. They'd be angry because Australia lost.
All right.
So they're a very demanding public. I think that's part of the reason. I don't know. It's maybe it is in the DNA. I don't know. You're the doctor. You tell me.
Okay, Brian. Another question which comes to our mind that, of course, you started playing when West Indies they were still very effective, but then you actually saw the degeneration of West Indian cricket while you were just standing as the last of the Mohicans, and you were performing, and you were like individually, you were just breaking record after record. But still, West Indies, it seemed that they were not a unit, and then you also had problems. You left as a captain, and like, so how does it feel? Is it about the mindset that you were there, and you were the role model to millions of the West Indians, and you were performing the feats which even they're inconceivable. But at the end of the day, West Indies, they were losing its way. So is it about the mindset, or is it about the political impact, the social cultural impact? What?
I think it was turning a blind eye to exactly what was happening, neglecting what was very much in front of us. And a lot of people don't pay attention to the fact that the West Indies was on a slide from about 1989, around that time.
Yeah. When we was
still
retiring,
won. Yeah. But we weren't winning as convincingly as we were in the past, but we were beating Australia 4-1 or England 5-0. I remembered my first test series in the West Indies as a 12th man. It was in 1988, when Imran Khan brought a Pakistani team to the West Indies, got to Barbados leading the series 1-0. And some very ordinary umpiring decisions made sure that the West Indies leveled that series to not lose it. England and the West Indies in 1990 won again. Got to Trinidad. We bowled 7 overs in the last hour. Right?
7
Ian
overs
Bishop and all these guys. I stood there. I was again 12th man to watch. I was pretty embarrassed. And we went on to win in Barbados and win in Antigua to win the series 2-1. So that slide started. That invincibility stopped about 1988. Nobody paid attention to it. The great man is going to walk in here tomorrow. I hope he's not watching now. He's going to talk that he's never lost a series. But he was not winning those series as convincingly as, say, Clive Lloyd was.
He's on a plane. He's flying. They won't have it on television.
So when it got to 1995, when we lost our first series against Australia, we were well on the way for that sort of collapse. And I felt that the administrators did nothing. And everybody was just waiting. And the Australians did a little bit of copying of our style of playing, the physical fitness, you know, what we did. The English they were also waiting, and everybody learned a bit from the West Indies cricket team. I believe that during our successful period, the game was about a lot of skill, attrition level, and we had players. You look at them, 6'5", they bowled all day, they bowled fast. Batsmen, we had a nice story with Greenwich, Haynes, Viv Richards, Larry Gomes, Mr. Dependable, and we just sort of stopped and paid no attention to it. And obviously with that sort of success, that fright that we put in the opposition, that was no longer there. You know, you turn up and you had Chandrapal and Lara and Hooper. You felt that, you know, you had a chance to beat the West Indies team. If you get past Ambrose and Walsh, what do they have to offer? And the rest of the world did take us to task.
So you want to tell us that had you been playing with likes of Gordon Greenidge and Desi Haynes, you would have scored 24,000 test runs?
Actually, no, I appreciate the fact that most of my career I felt under pressure, and you may not know, but even at school, you know, being the sort of batsman that everybody depended on. So my style of play really and truly sort of embraced being under pressure. I don't know how I would have done. I don't know if I would have gotten into the team, to be honest.
No, but I remember in 1978-79, the 12th man was Desi Haynes, and the 13th man was Malcolm Denzel Marshall. So I think it would have been a better team, the final 11. So they were not making the 11. So you could well imagine, Ian. And it happened.
And Ian, I was at school.
And you were at school,
I was on the radio at school.
Primary school?
Primary school.
I didn't want to hear that, Brian.
Okay, so Rashid, आप मतलब agree कर रहे हैं कि जैसा ब्रायन ने कहा, exactly now मैं आपसे वही पूछूंगा कि शायद हमने भी वही गलती की कि जिस वक्त हम प्राइम कर रहे थे, we didn't realize like West Indies, in case of the West Indies, के they had started to lose and they were on the decline. हमने भी शायद वही गलती की कि हम बहुत खुश रहे कि हम यूएई में जीत रहे हैं. लाइक
वेस्ट इंडीज का थोड़ा सा ड्रॉबैक ये रहा कि वहाँ पे फुटबॉल भी खेल रहे हैं, बास्केटबॉल खेल रहे हैं, या दूसरे गेम में ज़्यादा चले गए, एथलेटिक्स भी है. पाकिस्तान में सिर्फ क्रिकेट है.
ओके.
और टैलेंट भी ज़्यादा है. अगर हम पॉपुलेशन देखें पाकिस्तान की बहुत ज़्यादा 20 करोड़ है. तो हमारे यहाँ पॉलिटिक्स और करप्शन मेरे ख्याल से जिसकी वजह से डिक्लाइन आया है. पहले ऐसा नहीं था. अगर 90s के दौर में अगर देखते हैं हम लोग, फेयर सिलेक्शन था, पैसा इन्वेस्ट होता था क्रिकेट के ऊपर. अब ज़्यादातर जो है हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के अपने ऊपर ज़्यादा लगता है, प्लेयर्स के ऊपर हमारा कम है फोकस. हम लोग कर सकते हैं इन्वेस्ट अपनी डोमेस्टिक में कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि आईसीसी उतनी ही फंडिंग कर रहा है जितनी ऑस्ट्रेलिया को थोड़ी बहुत ज़्यादा मिल रही है. लेकिन देखा जाए तो ऑस्ट्रेलिया, साउथ अफ्रीका और न्यूजीलैंड को सेम अमाउंट ऑफ मनी मिल रही है आईसीसी से. तो पाकिस्तान को डोमेस्टिक स्ट्रक्चर अपनी कॉम्पिटिटिव क्रिकेट करनी पड़ेगी. वेस्ट इंडीज डिफरेंट कंट्रीज हैं, वहाँ पे आप कह सकते हो एक दफ़ा प्रॉब्लम आ गया तो मुश्किल हो रही है. लेकिन पाकिस्तान में तो क्रिकेट ही सब कुछ है, दूसरा गेम नहीं है कोई भी. हॉकी क्रिकेट की वजह से हमारे नीचे चला गया. कितनी दफ़ा चैंपियन हुआ है पाकिस्तान हॉकी में, ओलंपिक चैंपियन हुआ है, वर्ल्ड चैंपियन हुआ है, चैंपियन ट्रॉफी हुआ है. लेकिन यहाँ पे सिर्फ एक गेम है क्रिकेट, उसको भी हमने इंटरनल पॉलिटिक्स की वजह से खराब किया.
Okay, Ian, Rashid is of the view that like I just tried comparing Pakistan's decline with the West Indies. And he thinks that West Indies is totally different because the younger population, they have many other options like basketball or just switching over to the United States and making a career out in baseball. But in Pakistan, cricket has only been the solitary sport after the demise of hockey and squash. And he thinks that it's only because of the failings of the Pakistan Cricket Board and the internal politics and not enough money being invested in their domestic cricket that we have become pedestrian and less effective.
Well, I'd say two things. Imran Khan, a long time ago, was saying that that the domestic cricket was a problem and it needed to be sorted out for Pakistan cricket to go ahead. Now, I've spoken, and Brian, I'd put this question to Brian. Tony Coase here, the great broadcaster from the West Indies, and a couple of other people, said to me often that the West Indies wasn't losing a hell of a lot of young people to basketball and certainly not to baseball. I mean, there's not a lot of West Indians playing baseball in America. I only know of one, I think. There might be a couple more, but not many. And they used to say that wasn't the main reason why West Indies cricket went down. Is that? Do you think
that is definitely not the reason?
Okay.
And, obviously, there's so much different options for youngsters now. And you know, back then when I was 10 or 11 years old, cricket and soccer, we call it football, were the main options. Yes. I don't know about any West Indian that's playing in the NBA. There might be one or two. Baseball, I don't know about any. I think the failing is really and truly harnessing that talent. Yes, it's been diluted a bit. It's a little bit less than it was before, simply because of the options. But I don't know about any great success stories other than athletics with Usain Bolt, who, you know, I met as a youngster at the Sabina Park. We've got a couple golfers, but and that is good. That's fine. The cream of the crop still wants to play cricket. And we've had so much examples of guys who have started the game and could not bridge the gap. There's a youngster that made 100 in debut in Australia. Ali, I think his name was, and all of a sudden he's no longer playing cricket. Quite a few young players that have not been able to bridge the gap, and I feel that the responsibility was in the hands of the West Indies Cricket Board and their setup to make sure that these youngsters could do well. I always say, we take very good talent and make it ordinary. The rest of the world take ordinary talent and make it
big. And we have to take a break, but Brian, let me concede one thing. Let me reveal that the live web stream is in the airplane and the big man may well be listening.
I've had my tussles with him.
Okay, game on. We'll be right back, Ji.